Hi, welcome to Solentlife's Man Cave. It's basically it's been an idea of mine for some years to build a model workshop, and you may have seen my previous video where I took a selfie camera around and did a walk round of the garage and the storeroom and everything. And this upstairs second floor, which is 12 metres by 8 and consists of an 8 by 8 workshop, which you see behind me with the Lancaster and various hanging from the rafters. And to my left is a 4 by 8 area sectioned off with open access, which is to be the bar and lounge area for club and anybody who wants to come here. The workshop is open for any of the members of clubs and everything I am with to come and enjoy a beer and to actually use the equipment here. I got laser machine, a K40, and two 3D printers, an Ender 3 Pro, and also a Print-Right Kaleido. So, and I've got press drills and various stuff here. I've even got a 3D pen and so on. So, and immediately behind me, actually, level with my right shoulder, is you can just see tables cluttered up with gear because I'm still moving stuff in. But that's an automatic foam cutting table with the drop bar that you can set to do angled delta wings and constant chord or whatever. So that's capable of doing up to 1 metre. I think it's 1 metre or 1.2 metre long foam cuts. So that should come in useful quite often later once I get sorted. It's November 2020. We're all suffering from this COVID-19, of course. So meetings and things with various people are restricted, and Latvia is locking down, and so really club meetings have suffered, like everybody, UK, USA and France and so on. We are getting limited in flying meetings. We can of course go out on our own in some places if we're allowed the distance. In Latvia, luckily, I can go flying, but the weather has been atrocious. We're suffering 20 metres per second, 15 metres per second winds, which is really, even with some of my high-powered wet fuel models, are really pushing the limits. So unless it's a pilot racer or something, you don't want to play with it. So building has taken a front stage, and I've started to muck around with a Vulcan 3D that is on RC groups. The problem for me, obviously, is my two printers are not the same as the CR10 that the files were originally made for. The author, the designer, has been absolutely great in revising his design to suit a 200 by 200 bed, but I'm still getting a height problem, and also I don't really like having prints run more than 7 or 8 hours if possible. I don't know about others, but I tend to find that filament spools can lock up. I don't know why. Maybe it's, the filament spools are wound tight, and then when you start using them, of course, the loops on the spool start to loosen, and then you get the one coming off the spool gets locked under another loop, and then tightens, and I've had a few failed prints where I've left the printer and haven't been there to catch the spool tightening up and that loop locking the feed. But anyway, the Vulcan's coming on. I got both wings done now, and it's just a matter of sorting out how to get the fuselage printed, because they're very large pieces, and I don't really want to run 12 to 15 hours printing a piece, which is really at the limits of the volume size of the two printers I've got. I've just done the 3D lab print Albatross, so I'm just finishing off a few bits and pieces for that in LWPLA, which is a lightweight PLA which foams at 230 degrees. And I have to say that in print quality and looks and the method of hinging they use, it's very, very good. It's well worth the money. I've had a few events trying to print it. A couple of pieces are not exactly friendly to print, but a little bit of tweak and Simplify 3D has sorted that, and I've ended up with some really good stuff. And it's lightweight. That LWPLA is amazing. The weight of the Albatross, I would say, is probably around about 60% of what it would be if done in regular PLA. And of course, the layer height of the LWPLA is greater. So the amount used is significantly less. I've done I've done literally all the Albatross from one 750 gram LWPLA spool with still maybe, I don't know, 200 or 300 grams still on the spool, maybe more. I would say I've used about maybe two-thirds, something like that. So I'm amazed. It's expensive, but in terms of how much you use because of that foaming action, it works out only about 1.5 times the cost of using regular PLA. And of course you get the benefit of the lightweight. And I like it's slightly more flexible and more tolerant of physical action next to it. PLA layers I've had quite often, like the 3D lab print P51. I have to be careful handling it. I've done it exactly as thing, but every time you handle it, especially around the tail near where that servo goes in, I've had layers actually separate and had to CA them back together again. So I'm not overly impressed with the layout of regular PLA in this. Maybe it needs a higher temperature, maybe it needs a greater, but something needs tweaking, I think, there. But the Albatross, honestly, you can handle that a lot, and the layers do not split or separate. It's very, very good. The pilot for it, I've given it to the wife. She likes painting, so she's going to knock up the old Lothar von Richthofen, old Red Baron's brother. I've got a picture of him, so she's going to paint him up, and that will go in. 2836 1300 kV motor. It's a 2836 that Turnigy or Hobby King sells, but it's a little bit heavier than their normal gold and silver Turnigy machine. This is red and black, and it comes in a fancy plastic container. It's supposed to be better quality, and it certainly is just a few grams heavier, and it fits the motor mount perfectly. So that's it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to some models in the air now. What's next? who knows? Until we get CV19 under control, which until people in the street realise that it's up to them to actually control it, not governments. It's no good, you know, young people standing there and saying, "Ah, we're young, we don't get it." That's bullshit. You do get it. There's been very young people die. There's been very young people affected. And okay, I'm coming on 65 in January, so I'm in an age group that is seriously worried about this. And if all the generations, all the age ranges, do not get their act into gear and sort themselves out, when will we ever see an end to this? It's no good praying for the vaccine. The vaccine takes time. Young and old must knuckle down, put your bloody mask on properly. No good walking around with a mask just over your mouth and your nose sticking out in the free air. That's a waste of time. You might as well throw the mask in the bin. I've seen people share masks. I was sitting outside a supermarket just 20 minutes ago, waiting for the wife who was inside, and I watched two young girls, you know, young women. One had forgotten her mask, so she turns to her friend, "Oh, lend me a mask, will you?" And this is a disposable mask. And the girl just gave it to her. She put it on. She went in the shop. So if she thinks that's good enough, I'm sorry, I don't. I have a bag full of disposable masks. Okay, I don't throw them away as every time I use. Of course, I gauge, you know, roughly how long I use it, and I don't give it to anybody else. I don't manhandle it a lot. I don't put it in places where it could get contaminated. I keep it in one place in the car. I got another one in my Renault van, which is my model transport, in the same place, so they don't get risk of contamination. And I'll replace it after a few hours. But really, it's time for everybody to realise just how bloody serious this is, and to actually do the right thing. You know, when you stand in a supermarket queue waiting at the checkout, and you get somebody closer than 2 meters, and you politely ask them to step back, and you get a stream of abuse like I got the other day, with this elderly woman basically telling me to bugger off and go to another shop if I don't like it. You know, she's standing right up behind me. It just didn't seem to dawn on her that, you know, hey, big signs everywhere saying 2 meter distance, and she just ignored it. And when it was pointed out to her, she just turned around and said, "Sod off, I don't care." How can you battle the COVID menace with attitude like that? And that is from an elderly person who really should know better. So I am lucky. I live out in the sticks. I live on the edge of the town, but I've got large grounds around me, so I'm not in constant contact with people like people in apartments and you know, dense residential areas. So I'm lucky in that respect. But I still got to go into the shops and the supermarkets and stuff to get my gear, and it really worries me when I go in there with people like that. You know, you just don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, sorry to end on such a serious note, but anyway, I'm always on RC groups. Wattflyer, which is magic. I really love Wattflyer, and it's very, very friendly. We don't really have arguments there. If an argument starts, it gets chopped. Moderators are quick on it. It's an excellent place. There's RC foam, RC foamers and FRC. which is I can't remember what it's called, RC Pilots or whatever, but that's excellent. They've got a serious range of profile and fold and glue foamies. Brilliant site, very helpful. It's like What Flyer, you know, no daft question, you know, everything gets answered, everybody's helpful, nobody is insulting or rude. That's the trouble with some sites. I've stopped using some yachting sites like YBW, the PBO reader and stuff like that. Stopped going there because there's some right anti people who think they know everything, and they're just insulting. So sod 'em. I'm not interested. And RC groups, I go there because there's a lot of information, but there are some real RC people there who really should need a lesson in morals and manners. But it's the biggest RC forum around, and there's a lot of really good people there. It's just a shame there's some real nasties that abide there. But anyway, I wish everybody stay healthy, stay safe, look after yourselves, and I hope all this comes to, you know, all this COVID comes to an end. So as the Vulcans on Star Trek say, live long and prosper. And I think that takes on quite a bit of meaning now, doesn't it? Yeah? Especially with the work thing. You know, it's right. Okay, so look after yourselves, everyone. I'm always around, and I don't know all the answers. In fact, I'm learning like everybody else. Okay, I've been in the game for 55 odd years. Well, maybe there's more than that actually, but everything's evolving. I got old ways of doing things, and I'm learning like everybody else. So I'm always welcome for questions, because it makes me think, makes me come up with maybe an innovative answer, or drag out an old way to do it to help. But you know, like I say, I don't know all the answers, and I'm very open to learn from others. And just because I've been in 55 years or more does not mean to say I know more about somebody who's only just come into the hobby. Who knows? So anyway, live long and prosper, stay healthy, stay safe. Bye bye.